Hello, Monsignor, how are you? Or I should say, Father Nolan, because back in 1981, that is exactly how I knew you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come on and talk about Covenant House. But I figured before we get to Covenant House, I wanted to share some great stories about yourself. You know, when I came to Rider College, now Rider University, back in 1981, I was with many other freshmen. We came, we were nervous, yet we were excited. You were a special part of our lives. You made us feel welcome, you made us feel at home, and you were just incredible, and you may not even realize that. You are a mentor to us, you are a true friend, and arguably you are one of the most well-respected leaders on that campus during my 4 years at Rider. When we graduated, you included us all in this pre-graduation mass. It was incredible. We had all the parents there. It was standing room only. And I still remember this. You allowed me to come up, share a quick story with all the parents so that they truly understood from me and from my peers what you were like, how important you were to us. To this day, I still have something you gave us at the Mass. I see it every day. It's an important memory to me, and I think many of the other kids have this as well too. During our time at Rider College, you were such an important influence to us. You spoke to us, you were there as a friend, and you were tough as well. You told us like it was, and it was very important for us to hear that. We were all out on our own, and we were on campus, but you always felt the need to talk to us. You waved to us whenever you saw us. You always took the time to spend just to live, just to listen to us. When things were tough on campus, if you may recall this, we had some deaths on campus, and it was horrible. You were there, and you got us through this. You got us through as a group, and you got us through as a leader, and we will always remember that, and thank you for that. As a spiritual leader, you were there for us all the time. As you remember, my mother was quite influential in my life as well, and our Catholic beliefs were extremely important to us. As you grow up, sometimes you start to stray from that, but when we got to college, you made it easy for us to come to Mass. You made it fun for us to come to Mass, so that it helped us really blossom, as adults, as young adults. As an aside, you may recall, about 21 years ago now, you baptized Matthew, my youngest son, Matthew Nolan Gaffney. And as I just alluded to, he just turned 21 years old. So that was just quite special. So you should be very happy and very proud. And he is as well to carry you. One of the tough lessons that you taught me personally was the night before graduation. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but we had a party at the Red Roof Inn around the corner, and we probably had 100 or 200 extra people at the party. So inevitably the police came, and you were nice enough to be there, and you were at the party with us. But when they came, you were there with your hands, as you always were during Mass. But at this time, you kind of put me in front and made me do the explaining. I now was on my own and had to be, let's just say, responsible for my actions. I was an adult now, And the good, the bad, everything that went along with that came instantly. And with that, I truly learned that I had the ability to go out in life. I had everything that you had taught us, and it was extremely important. It was one of those tougher lessons that you could have easily had a nice conversation, but you allowed me to go out and to be responsible. And for that, I thank you. Again, thank you so much. This is tremendous. As I mentioned, you were so important, and just teaching us to want to give back has really helped. It helped me with my work with Covenant House. You are one of the most influential people in my life, and you need to understand that. And my mom upstairs, I'm sure, is looking down on you right now, because she was too very important to me, and wanted me to give back and to help. And through that, and with everything that you've done, it's helped me help these kids. Monsignor, some of the things that you instilled in us, I really take through to my life now. You taught me to care. It's important to truly care about people. You taught me to help. Those qualities are extremely important in the work that I do with the kids. You taught me to be honest. Honesty, integrity. Those are things that are extremely important, not only with the work that I do with Covenant House, but in business, in day-to-day, dealing with the family, raising my kids. Those are all important qualities that not only have you instilled in me, but the rest of the graduates from Ryder.
Welcome to the Catholic Corner. I'm Monsignor Walter Nolan. Thanks, Chris. I wasn't expecting that kind of an introduction or that kind of a message on our show, but that was beautiful.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Chris Gaffney and so many other young people are just a joy in my heart, and a joy in our faith, and a joy to society. Boy, I just got to take a deep breath, I think, before we actually begin. I knew Chris, as you know now from seeing the introduction, I knew Chris when I was a chaplain at Ryder University almost 30 years ago. And Chris was a young student, came there, and it was a delight of my life to be working with young people. Now you can see Chris is a successful businessman. He's the group president of Toll Brothers Incorporated, the nation's leading builders in luxury homes. And I remember Chris, when he was in school, was always building something, always doing something around the house, and that's a good thing. He volunteers, and if I can just urge all of the young people, just kind of in a sense follow a path like Chris's. He volunteers a great deal of his time in another organization which provides a home, maybe a different kind of home, but I'm not so sure they're really a different kind of home. They all go together. Covenant House in New York City. Most of you must know that Covenant House is the largest privately funded agency in Americas that provides housing and crisis care for any homeless youngster. That's God's stuff. That's good stuff. I think that's America's stuff. Chris has done a lot on their behalf, so much so that he was acknowledged by the New Jersey Builders Association Above and Beyond Community Service Award for his commitment helping homeless children as a member of the Covenant House Board of Directors of New York City. Proud of you, brother.
Thank you.
Very, very proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
But I'm sure I had that inkling in your eyes way back then when we both were a little bit younger, I do remember. First of all, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
You mentioned the gift I gave it. I think I know what it is. Tell me about it again, though.
Well, at the graduation mass, you were telling us about, how tough it will be, and that we have to work hard and continue to work hard every day to be a success. We had it in us, and that there were so many other things other than money that was important in life. However, with that, you wanted to make sure that we at least had a start. So you provided us with our first dollar in life.
I know that.
And this hangs on my wall, so I see it every day when I leave for work as a reminder, a special reminder of you and a special reminder of your message that you gave to us to work hard and do whatever it takes to make sure that we help and do what we need to do for others.
A silver dollar, so you never be broke.
That's right. That's
great.
right.
That's great. You know, we could talk for hours. I remember so many of the conversations, the things we did, and even the stories I used to tell, and some of the things that were just, they were remarkable good years for all of us, I think, you know.
And I think it has made us better people for it. It really has.
So I do remember, you know, you during the summers and even I think some nights you were working in building homes, and you learned from, I guess, digging the ditches all the way up.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I started in the home building business, and you remember every break, every winter time, you know, I would go home and work. I would dig ditches, and you know, my boss at the time, who was another influential leader in my life,
They were good people. I remember.
Great people. Gave me the toughest jobs to make sure I stayed in college.
Where did you get involved in volunteering? Because I know even at school you did things, but
we did things, and from time to time during my life, I would also get involved in so many things. But seriously, about 4 years ago, Kevin Ryan, who is a dear friend of mine and the president of Covenant House International, brought me to this tremendous gala, which was called the Night of Broadway Stars. And it's a gala where the Broadway stars give back. They come, they work with the kids, and they provide these inspirational numbers so that you really understand what our kids are all about. And I say our kids because they're truly one of my kids. And from that, I was hooked. I was just hooked.
You know, you just kept my man. There was that's every year, right? You have that
every year.
There was a young fellow that I taught at Notre Dame High School, who I know at least once was a part of that. Kieran Sheehan, Irish, you know, singer, and
wow,
oh my gosh,
that is great.
That is.
Oh, that's great.
So now you get kind of brought into Covenant House. You know, you remind me when you say you know, a friend of yours kind of brought you in, and all of a sudden there's a G.K. Chesterton. You know, it was a beautiful Catholic writer years ago, and he used to write stories. So he wrote a lot of theology, but he wrote Father Brown detective stories. And when I was like a young guy like you were back then, I remember there was a priest said to me, "You got to read these detective stories." Well, Father Brown ends one of his detective stories they asked him how he caught the thief, and he said, "By a twitch of the thread, I pulled him in." And I think that back when I was a young guy in college, and said, that's like God. You know, it's like a twitch of the thread. He gets us into places like Covenant House, and sometimes you sit back and say, how did this happen?
Yeah,
and I think, look back and say, you know, it's always God somehow, that twitch of the thread, he just always makes sure he has us hooked, you know, into something.
Exactly.
Oh my God, it's terrific. So tell me a little bit more about, you know, what you do at Covenant House, and how Covenant House really just helps so many youngsters.
Covenant House, you know, we took care of 56,000 kids last year in 27 cities across the United States, Canada, Latin America. In Covenant House, New York alone, we house 300 kids there a night. And what we do is we have such a wide variety of services. We provide a bed, we provide meals, but we also provide crisis care, medical care for kids that otherwise have nothing. And after we get them into our crisis program, we can get them into so many other programs. We have a rites of passage program that is 18 months. We'll teach kids how to get jobs, how to help study, to get their GED. We have nursing certificate programs. So there are so many services that once we get the kids off the street and into a safe environment, we can really help them get on the road to just being important parts of society.
Now, do the youngsters, is there an age at all? I mean, of who can come, not come?
Well, primarily the residents are 18 to 21, and with the exception of many have some of their own kids. So for those that are of that age, we provide services to help with the kids during the day while they're at school, while they're at work, while they're preparing to succeed in life.
And how long, can they stay there for a number of nights?
They can stay there for one night. They can stay there for as long as 18 months, depending upon how they get into the different programs. And you know, part of what we do is outreach as well, so that in other areas such as Asbury Park, such as Camden, we go out and have some tremendous workers that are just superstars that find the kids that are out on the street and have nothing and bring them to our shelters.
You know, it's so interesting. You know, when we were little kids, you know, somewhere along the line, people teach us about God, and you hear the expression, you know, that we're born in the image and likeness of God. And somebody just the other day said to me, he said, "What does that mean?" He said, does that mean like we look like God or God looks like us? And I said, well, I hope God doesn't look like you.
Hope he has more hair than I do.
Well, listen, we're all in the same boat. But I said, you know, just what you're saying, it's almost that there's something inside of us that if we let it happen, you know, that image of caring, of love, acceptance, forgiveness. I mean, you know, when you talk about forgiveness and all, it's like, you know, it's incredible how much God, you know, like the hound of heaven, you know, with Francis Thompson, you know, he'll twitch us in and gives us the courage, because, you know, I folks like yourself, and I hope people understand this, when you go over there and help, it takes courage, because the streets aren't always
streets are very tough.
You know, so that's just amazing. Tell me now, I know you've been a builder. Is there any, I love the way God does things, because is there any, like in yourself, you've been building homes from the time you were a kid, you know, with the physicalness, the wood, the whatever, the hammers and all, and now all of a sudden you're giving home a place, you know, of care and safety and love and kindness. What's the connection?
You know, it is ironic, but I think it's more than you know, at our company, at Toll Brothers, we're not building just a house, we're building a home. We build communities. And the same with Covenant House. Our CEO at Toll Brothers is so important to us in the company, and he wants us, he urges us to go out and to help. So with his support, I have that ability to go out and help others. I take what I've learned in business, and I brought that now to Covenant House to help the chairman of the finance committee, to help with their finances, to make sure that, you know, we have everything we need to make sure that our donors are happy, to help with the kids, to be able to inspire them, to talk to them, to urge them, and to give them, you know, some possibilities in life with simply learning how to talk to someone, look at them in the eye, shake their hand, help them put resumes together. There's so much that, you know, goes hand in hand with, you know, with my business.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like teaching them that there's a dignity in them.
Yes.
And there's a dignity in every human person.
Absolutely.
And also, I have a great feel all the time when we talk about love, to teach youngsters especially that not only can they love, but they can be loved. And I think they go together, those two little parts of that. How about your duties as a member of the board of directors? Because board of directors is good stuff.
There's so many, and again, I am so lucky because the team at Covenant House, the staff, they are incredible. And all I'm there to do is I'm there to lead, to mentor them. I'm on the, as I mentioned earlier, the chairman of their finance committee. I sit on the executive committee, and my job is to help raise funds, to help the business, if you will, run smoothly, and to provide whatever support I can financial, spiritual, and with my business relationships to help the staff do their best for the kids.
You know, I know I'm very happy and blessed and proud to be a priest, but I also just love the priestliness in guys like you and gals that do that. I mean, you know, we say that there's one priest and that's the Lord, and we all just do it in different ways, and that's comes right out of us. Some of the events that go on, I know you mentioned, you know, a lot of the artists and things of New York, and what other events do you do?
I mean, we've done the Night of Broadway Stars, as I mentioned. I'm a member of the home team, which is a endurance group that does running events around the country. And I've been fortunate enough to do the New York City Triathlon, the Philadelphia Marathon, the Spring Lake 5. And what we do is we run for the kids. And when you're running a marathon, when you're running a triathlon and you're training, it's nothing compared to what some of our kids have to endure. So it just is so easy to do the training, and we raise awareness. And the home team itself has raised over $1 million since its inception for the kids. We cook dinners for the kids. We do sleep outs. There's a whole host of different events that I'm so fortunate to you know, to be part of.
When I shook your hand before, I said, you're like a tight end of one of these professional football players. You know, that is terrific.
It's just, it keeps me busy. The training is fabulous.
God must have given you 36 hours in a day.
Yes.
Because I know you're a family man too. I mean, you're a beautiful guy.
But it's just to get up early, to work late, to do whatever. When you see these kids, when you meet them, it's easy to spend that extra time.
Do you have a lot of your own support? I mean, what gives you the support?
I am so lucky. My family, first and foremost. My friends, my business constituents, my peers, you name it. Every event that I do, they are there. They support me. They are true advocates of these kids. And I am so very fortunate to have, you know, such a wide group to help me with them.
I read about the executive sleep out. And then now I'm going to talk to a guy who slept out.
Well, the executivesleepout.org, every year, the Thursday before Thanksgiving, I, along with business leaders around the country, spend one night sleeping on the streets. First year we had 50. Last year, over 400, and we raised over $4 million in one night. This year, we will have more than 400 sleepers in 14 cities around the country. It is such an inspiration, and the last time I went there, I was inspired because the kids were teaching me how to stay warm in the street, because I was doing this for them. They were, Mr. Chris, do this. And I was so proud to be able to take that on for one night.
You got to just take a pause, don't you, huh? Maybe this year you'll have more folks doing it and supporting you in that. Tell me a little bit, give me a story. I love stories. A story about how Covenant House made a difference in someone's life.
I can give you a story about a young girl, which was probably the first young girl who I met when I came to Covenant House. She was 18 years old, and she had been kicked out of her house. The reason she was kicked out of her house was she was being beaten and abused by the boyfriend of her mother. When she went to talk to her mother about it, she didn't believe her, so she kicked her out onto the street. She had nowhere to go but sleep in Penn Station. She came to Covenant House, and I met her a day after getting to Covenant House, and we had the nice opportunity to speak. And I noticed when we were talking, she had her backpack which was a very small backpack, in between her legs, and she wouldn't, she was huddling it with her legs. So at the end of our conversation, I asked her, is everything okay? Is something the matter? And she then went on to explain, I just came from sleeping in Penn Station. In my bag are a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. That's all I have. I have to keep it like this because if I ever fell asleep in Penn Station, someone would steal it from me. I touched her hand and said, you're safe here. It's okay. You're going to have your own room. It's going to be okay. She has since gone on to go through our programs, and she now lives with a roommate. She has a job, and she's in a safe environment on her own. And that, to me, is a tremendous success, and just so happy that we can help someone like that.
And I know, Chris, that's just one story of thousands of stories. And every one of those stories is really God's story. You know, we talk about resurrection. You know, resurrection comes in a lot of ways, you know, my God. And it's amazing. I guess, you know, when you think about life, we can all get knocked down. The key is you got to get up. But sometimes we need people to help us get up or help us carry the crosses, and that's the stuff. How about your faith? You know, I know you're a man of faith, but your faith seems to be right inside not only your family life, your work life, but this beautiful vocation that God has given you.
It's so important. You know, being able to help others, being able to give back, being able to do what I can do for the less fortunate. You know, that's what I was taught. That's what I was instilled. And it means a lot. And to be in a position today, I'm so fortunate to be able to do that, yeah, for these kids. It's just, it's special.
You know, there's a book that really talks about building, and in the book at the very beginning, there's the poor young lady was dying, and she said to her husband, "Build me a cathedral." You've built lots of cathedrals, brother, and there's lots of people out there building cathedrals. It's a marvelous, marvelous gift. If you'd like to know more about Covenant House, find out just how you can help to go, please go to covenanthouse.org or call 800-388-3888. Bless you. Be a part of something. Build the cathedrals. God love you, Chris. What a blessing. That's
Great.
Wonderful.
Thank
wonderful.
you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you.